Welcome to Building Fortunes Radio. Make sure you check us out at buildingfortunesradio.com. Along with our marketing partners, we're here to help our PM Marketing Network Lead customers build their businesses and make the world a better place. At Building Fortunes, we know how much your business means to you and the people important to you. So spread the word, tell a friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world. Now on to our show with your host, Peter Mingils.
Hello everyone, Peter Mingils here. You're listening to us on Building Fortunes Radio. It's www.buildingfortunesradio.com. My name is Peter Mingils for anybody who's keeping score, and I do a radio show with George Madu every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And the way this whole thing got started is George was a guest on a radio show that we were doing with Doris Wood, who is the original founder of the MLMIA. And George does a great job. He's very well known, great reputation, owns the networkmarketingmagazine.com and the digital publication. Has been doing that for well over a decade. And George has always had a really great reputation. I met George, like I said, as a guest on that Building Fortunes radio show with Doris Wood. And then a couple of months later, Doris had called me up and she said, "Are you doing any radio shows with George Madu?" And I said, "No, Doris." And she said, "Well, you should." And one of the things I've learned is to listen to people that have my best interest at their heart. So I called up George and said, "Hey, George, let's do some radio shows." And we figured we'd do a few, and a few has led to a couple of dozen, and then a couple of dozen is going to lead to a couple of hundred by the time we're finished with this. Sometimes we do the radio show ourselves. Sometimes George invites a guest, and today is a really super-duper special one. And I'm going to kind of step out of the way as fast as I can to introduce George Madu, but you want to check him out. We have his other radio shows on buildingfortunesradio.com/TNMM, which stands for the Network Marketing Magazine. So buildingfortunesradio.com/TNMM. And George Madu, over to you.
Thanks so much, Peter. I appreciate you. And
You're
you're
welcome.
right. We absolutely have a very special guest of mine. And so let me just get right into it. Rod Nichols, are you there?
I'm here, George.
Great. Rod Nichols and I have worked together for well over 14 years. And it's been exciting to know Rod and to know his heart. And the nice thing about it is that we have learned from one another. And so one of the things that we worked on 14 years ago was a book project that I'm going to have Rod describe in 30 seconds. But this book project is one that is near and dear to our hearts, both for two reasons, and we'll get into that. But Rod, tell us about our journey together.
Well, we met, I believe in 2006, as best as I can remember, which is getting harder and harder as I get older here. But we met at Doug Firebaugh's event, one of his events, and that we were both speaking at, and just connected right away, and felt like we were kindred spirits and brothers in the Lord. And so we've I think we've been in touch ever since. We've done a number of things, and including our latest project that I'm really excited about. I'll let you introduce that.
We ended up going ahead and we had a discussion about a book, an idea about a book. And the book was not your typical network marketing training book. It was a story. And the story really started to develop. And the story is called Breaking Through, A Christian's Journey to Network Marketing Success. So take it from here, Rod.
So what we wanted to do was we wanted to develop a fictional story that was based on our own experiences in network marketing, the experiences we had seen in other people. And so we've got a character by the name of Tim, who is kind of the classic struggling network marketer. You know, his wife is hounding him to quit. His friends think he's crazy. They avoid him at the social gatherings because he's kind of that crazy MLM guy. And he's frustrated and really starting to think about giving up on his dreams. And he figures he'll give it one last chance. So he decides to go to the company convention, which is in Hawaii. So he's got a 5-hour flight there to think about it, and he's really hoping that at that convention he's going to find the magic answers, the magic bullet that is going to help him become successful and live the life of his dreams. Well, Tim ends up having a surprise encounter that not only changes his network marketing career, but changes his life. And so the book tells this story of Tim and this surprise encounter and unveils really the true secrets to network marketing success. So the reader, it's an enjoyable, it's a fun book, it's an easy read, it's not very long, and yet it really unveils what we've discovered in our many years of network marketing experience are the true secrets to building a successful network marketing business.
So we started this journey 14 years ago. And what happened?
Well, that's a good question. We started on the project and we actually finished the first writing of the book, you know, an unedited version of a book, and we were missing a few things here and there, but and then neither one of us can really remember what exactly happened at that time, but we didn't finish it out. As George often says, we stopped at the 2-yard line and didn't go in for the touchdown. And so here last year, towards the end of last year, I was going through my computer, as I do quite often, and was just cleaning out files, getting rid of old stuff, and I was in my writing file, and I found this folder titled Breaking Through, and I opened it up because I couldn't figure out what it was, and opened up the manuscript that was in there and realized that it was this book and that it was like 98% done. And so I called George and said, George, whatever happened to Breaking Through? And George, what happened with you at exactly the same time?
I was working on our 27% of success system, and I happened to be looking for a particular book in my library of one of the contributors and one of the guys that we were doing a training for the system, and I came across a 3-ring binder that said Breaking Through. Now, the really strange part about that was the next day, Rod ends up calling me. And we had not talked in 7 years. And, you know, some of you people believe in coincidences. Don't. And for us to come across Breaking Through the same day and then rekindle, you know, our efforts in this book and our friendship, really, is no coincidence. So it became a real exciting journey all over again. And so Rod said to me, I want you to read the book, and I'm going to do the same thing. And that's what we did. And we both read the book, not through the eyes of the authors, but through the eyes of the reader. And it was just absolutely incredible. I know that what I got out of the book was the seeds that had been planted for our 27%. a lot of what we do as far as training goes was located in the book. And I know Rod ended up going through it also.
Yeah, it was amazing when I went through the book to recognize how many powerful success principles were built into a very small book, a book that a lot of people could read in one or two sittings, read on an airplane, on a typical trip someplace. And yet, when I looked at the principles that we had put in there 14 years earlier and that now have been updated, we went through and made sure that we updated everything to fit what's happening now. It's a little different world out there than it was 14 years ago, and yet these principles, these are principles that extend throughout time. They're principles that never really change. They're values, they're ways of building and doing life, not just building a network marketing business, but doing life that they'll be solid for 100 years to come if we're still around there. So that excited me, and it made me realize that this book needs to come out. People need this book right now, particularly with all that's gone on in this last year and the growth we're seeing in network marketing. This book really needs to get out to the audience, and so I'm excited that we are there, George.
So what's interesting is that we also, in discussing the book, realized that that our main character was right in the middle of his story. And so I was talking to a owner of a publishing company, and he loved the idea, and he looked at me and he said, "You and Rod need to write 5 more books." And we're like, we're really very busy. And I said, 5, total of 6, why? He goes, people love a series, and you need to write the Breaking Through series. So I don't think, Rod, that the other 5 are going to end up taking 7 years to complete. But it's, yeah, like you said, the principles are timeless. It's really teaching the wisdom of the ages, mm-hmm. And so it's just really, really, really exciting. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to take a little bit of a break, and then when I come back, you and I are going to continue the discussion of Breaking Through, and where it's at. It is launching tomorrow, April 21st, 2021, on Amazon, and we're really excited about it, and we're going to chat a little bit more about it. So, Peter, I'm going to throw it over to you right now.
Excellent. Yep, we're going to take a quick commercial break. You're listening to George Madu and Rod Nichols on Building Fortunes Radio. Here we go.
Thanks for listening to Building Fortunes Radio. If you sell a product or service, then you should check out PM Marketing's NetworkLeads.com. Just visit www.networkleads.com. For over 18 years, PM Marketing has helped distributors build their home-based businesses through lead generation, website development, automated email delivery systems, and sales training. If you're looking for a way to increase your skills and increase the number of people that see your product or opportunity, NetworkLeads.com can help. To learn more, visit www.networkleads.com. Ask about their lead management system, capture pages, personalized website, MLM training, humongous blogs, the humongous classified ad network, Building Fortunes Radio, or their webinar schedule. NetworkLeads.com can be your one-stop shop for everything you need. And now, back to our show.
And we are back. Peter Mingils here with George Madu, Rod Nichols, and we're talking about a book that's going to be released on Amazon tomorrow, which is 4/21/21. And you'll want to hear this again and share with your friends. If you go to buildingfortunesradio.com/TNMM, you'll be able to hear this again. And we're going to make sure we turn this into a little movie, and we'll put it up on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch to be able to help make sure we spread this great message. So, George, back to you.
So, Rod, one of the interesting things is that our hero, well, he's not such a hero right now, Tim, is there are millions of Tims in network marketing today, millions, literally, and so he goes through some situations that so many go through. I mean, a wife that is not crazy about what he's doing and how much he's spending, and the lack of progress in the business that he ended up telling his wife was going to be the answer for them. And it's really the middle of the story of a series, and so we've been talking about it, and it's a great place to start. It really is, because the continuation of the story really will go 2 books before, the breaking through a Christian journey, and it'll really take place about, how a person gets introduced to network marketing and their expectations and that sort of thing. Tim gets a taste of what turns out on that flight, and the other 3 books will take the journey of Tim, picking up that advice and mentoring, and it's going to be a great series. But Rod, tell me a little bit about Tim's brand new mentor.
Well, I think we'll leave quite a bit of that to the reader when they get a chance to read that. We want that to be a bit of a surprise. But let me just say this, that as I was reading back through this book, I realized that much like you said earlier, George, that there are lots of people out there that I think will associate with Tim. And as I read through what we had written 14 years ago, I recognized that was me. That was me in 1995. I had joined.
Wait.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
But it was both of us.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm sure you listeners, there's a lot of you saying, no, when you read this book, you'll say, no, that's me. And that's I think the beauty of the book is that I really feel like the majority of the people in network marketing are really going to associate with Tim. And then as he has this encounter on the airplane, he begins to gain not just some knowledge but some wisdom that he didn't have before. And he began to see himself as someone who could really be successful in this industry. And so, George, like you said, this will end up being a series, so there'll be books after this that will show what happened with Tim, from this moment. I call these defining moments in people's life, and that defining moment in some people's life, might be a convention, or it might be a book they read, or it might be a training they go through, or it might be an individual that they meet in rather unusual circumstances that totally changes their life. And so as people are reading this book, I believe they're going to be able to see themselves in the book, and I believe that they're going to go through the same process that Tim goes through during this 5-hour flight to Hawaii for this convention, and this conversation that occurs where he gains this wisdom that kind of is, like you said, George, the wisdom of the ages. And so I really feel like, people are going to engage with the characters, but they're going to also engage with the material and be able to take that material, take that wisdom, and put it into action very quickly in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about your background?
So I got involved in the network marketing industry, was introduced to it in 1979. I was one of those that some of you may remember the days when we used to draw circles on whiteboards, and was introduced to Amway and this concept called multi-level marketing at the time. I fell in love with the concept, but I was a miserable failure. I was Tim. I went through a number of companies from 1979 to 1995 with very minimal success. And in 1995, I had an encounter very similar to what Tim had. And that encounter changed my life. From 1995 going forward, I had tremendous success in the industry, built 2 large networks, which I still earn residual income from, wrote an industry best-selling book, the Successful Network Marketing for the 21st Century, and became a trainer and a speaker in the industry, all from that divine encounter, that moment in 1995 that relates to this encounter that Tim had.
Yeah, that's great. Is there hope for us that are just getting into the network marketing world? I mean, I'm obviously not just getting into it, but the proverbial us. Is there hope?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm proof of that, because I failed at it terribly from 1979 to 1995, and the only reason I feel like I succeeded was I stayed in it long enough and was willing to learn, and got to that place where I could have that moment in time, that encounter that changed my life. And I believe this book is going to be that encounter for many people in the network marketing industry, that will give them that hope that they need to go on and become tremendously successful, to build a large business, to build that residual income, give them the time freedom, be able to quit their job, be able to have the house of their dreams and things like that, that they've always dreamed of those things, and now I believe it's going to help them do that.
Yeah. So we're really excited about the launch tomorrow, and it's going to go by fast, but we're going to have a page up for Rod, but if anyone wants to go and check out the book, an easy way of doing it is going to Amazon Books and putting in Breaking Through, Christian's Journey to Network Marketing Success. or breaking through, and just put in the one of the authors, either one, Rod Nichols will come up. Or you can go to the networkmarketingmagazine.com, and on our homepage is a image of the book, and if you click on the image, it'll bring you right there. So let me ask you, in the minute that we have left, what do you want to leave us with, Rod?
I guess what we talked about just a moment ago, and that's hope. I want to leave the listener with hope. I want to leave the listener who has been in the industry for a little while and they've been struggling, that you can do this. You can do this. You just need to have that moment in time where something changes inside of you that says, yes, I can do that. And for the new person who's just getting into this industry, it's going to shortcut your journey. It's going to keep you from having to do what I did and go through all of those years of failure. And so like George said, we're excited about this book. We're excited about the impact it's going to have in people's lives.
Well, I really appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you being on today on the Network Marketing Magazine radio show. And we're going to have you back. So
Happy to come back.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Back to you, Peter.
Perfect information. Thanks for writing the book. Thanks for all the commitments, even though it took a little bit of time to put together. I know you guys have a couple of other ones lined up right behind it as well. Great messages. We certainly need this in today's day and age. Thanks for being here, Rod Nichols and George Madu. You can check them out again. If you go to buildingfortunesradio.com/TNMM, we're going to replay this radio show. We'll also put it up in a movie so you can share with your friends on Facebook, Twitch, and also YouTube, and we're going to catch you next week. Thanks for all the hard work, George. Thanks, Rod, and we'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to Building Fortunes Radio on buildingfortunesradio.com. Thanks for listening. Be sure to check us out every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for the designated Building Fortunes Radio segment with Peter Mingils. Be sure to check out the buildingfortunesradio.com website for our featured segments. It's been our privilege to have you listen in. At Building Fortunes Radio, we wish you the success you deserve and are willing to work for. So spread the word, tell a friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world.